Also, we should Timmons here. Since I'm doing my favorite horror films of each year, it is of course time for 1991's trend. So here are my top 10 favorite horror movies of 1991. Now there wasn't a lot of great ones that year, but there was some pretty decent ones that I thought were pretty decent. Number 10 is Children of the Night, directed by Tony Randall, starring Karen Black, and it's about two college girls who discovers a centuries-old vampire cult beneath the small town's church after an ancient evil awakens here, and the town's residents are turned into thirsty creatures. And this is not like one of the best vampire movies, nothing like that. But it was pretty decent. I mean, I've probably only seen this only once or twice and all. But it's a really creepy one. Really, interesting, 90s vampire style. Obviously, directed by Tony Randall, who gave us like a couple of Hellraiser movie and Amityville film and stuff. This is maybe one of his better films he put out, in my opinion. Alright. Number 9 is Highway to Hell. Now, Highway to Hell stars the likes of Christy Swanson, Richard Farnsworth. You even got Ben Stiller is also in this one. Gilbert Gottfried. Some interesting, who's actors in this one. Now, of course, Highway to Hell is where like a young man's fiance is kidnapped by a demonic cop on a desert highway, and he must literally journey into hell to save her. And it has some interesting humor, bizarre creatures, and all. Of course, I always think of the iconic song of "Highway to Hell" that was included in Lil Nicky and all. I mean, "Highway to Hell" is a really interesting, creepy one. A really fun, horror comedy with actors you would not even expect you to ever really appear in a horror movie like this. Directed by A.D. Jong, who did a good job with this one. I mean, seeing Ben Stiller in like a horror comedy was something very interesting. This was, of course, one of Ben Stiller's like earliest roles he did, and he was pretty cool in this one. Well, sorry about that. I accidentally set my alarm up. I'm sorry. Anyway, yeah, Highway to Hell was a really good one. If you guys haven't seen that, and also you got Christy Swanson like a year before her Buffy movie came. So there's that. All right. Number 8 is Popcorn. Now, Popcorn is about a film student who organizes a all-night horror movie marathon at an old movie theater. But the event turns deadly when a deranged filmmaker begins, taking out the attendees one by one. A clever homage to classic horror films, and obviously this is a meta type horror film here. You got Dee Wallace, Tony Roberts. Popcorn is really interesting. I mean, obviously this was before Scream. This was obviously before Scream. Reinvented the slasher craze. And Popcorn is a really cool one. Fun kills to it. Fun horror actors like Dee Wallace is always great. I mean, a really fun little horror film that I feel like not many people talk about nowadays. But all right, coming in at number 7 is Body Parts. Of course, directed by horror icon Jeff Fahey. You got Chucky himself, Brad Dourif. It's of course where this criminal psychologist receives a transplant after losing his arm in a car accident, and he of course from like an executor, and when the new limb begins acting with a mind of his own, the transplant begins start dying here, and he races to connect bodies and souls and all. Really interesting little body horror movie. Jeff Fahey's great in this. Brad Dourif. Really, definitely has a little bit of that David Cronenberg feel. The practical effects was pretty cool. I mean, a really decent little horror from there. Coming in at number... coming in at number 6 is The People Under the Stairs. Now, this is, of course, directed by Wes Craven, who obviously, gave us, the Scream film, Nightmare on Elm Street and all. And this is about this young kid named Fool who breaks into a local landlord's home to find a hidden treasure, only to uncover a nightmarish world beneath the floors here. And of course, you got a sadistic couple who owns the house, harbors abused kids in their basement and all. And this movie is pretty much social satire before Jordan Peele, made it cool and stuff. I mean, of course, there was actually talks about Jordan Peele. I think either directing or producing a remake of this. To be honest, I know people poo poo on the idea of a remake, whatever. I think a People in the Stairs remake today is perfect. I mean, with today's like political climates and social commentary and stuff like that, you could really do something really cool with People Under the Stairs remake today. And you do got some interesting cast members too, like the always horror icon Sean Willens also in this. Ving Rhames. It is a really good one. I mean, it's not as good as Wes Craven's other stuff like a Scream, but it is a really decent one that's well worth a watch. All right, coming in at number five. Speaking of Wes Craven, by the way, coming in at number five is Freddy's Dead: The Final Nightmare. Now, of course, obviously, this was not directed by Wes Craven, but this, of course, is where like was actually billed as Freddy Krueger's final outing. But let's be fair, whenever they announce a final something, it's usually never the final. Uh, but of course, this time around you got Freddy Krueger, who returns to terrorize the last surviving teen of Springwood. A group of troubled youth and counselor uncover like Freddy's twist origins here, and you do got, of course, you do got like Lisa Zane's in this. You even got young Breckin Myers, like before Road Trip fame, before Garfield fame and stuff like that. He was like I think he was like a teen when he did this one at that time. Seeing Robert Englund back, was pretty cool. Rachel Telly is Tale did a good job directing this. It is a really decent horror film. Definitely had more humor to it. It's not obviously as good as the original Nightmare on Elm Street, but it's definitely a really cool one. Fun kills to it, and yeah, of course, obviously we will go on to get another like a new Nightmare down the line. So, still waiting out hope for another Freddy movie down the line, but who knows? I think the closest thing we get to a new Freddy Krueger is Black Phone. That's the closest thing we get to a new Freddy Krueger. But anyway. Alright. Number four is more of a horror family comedy, but obviously it's still in the horror realm. Number four is The Addams Family. Obviously before Jenna Ortega came around, there was Christina Ricci's Wednesday. Of course, The Addams Family, directed by Barry Sonnenfeld, who will go on to direct, like, Men in Black and all. Starring Raul Julia, Angelica Houston, Christopher Lloyd. Obviously, a remake, like a big screen film adaptation of the iconic TV series from the 60s and all. I mean, the Addams Family movie always holds a place in my heart. Angelica Houston as Morticia is great. Christopher Lloyd, come on. It's great to see Christopher Lloyd popping up in the new Wednesday season. That was very cool. Of course, him as Uncle Fester was great. Christina Ricci, Raul Julia is terrific here. It's just such a... Obviously, Julia as Gomez Addams is perfect casting. It is really hilarious. Always love the ding here. It's such a good one. And, of course, we did have Values, which came out, I think a year or 2 years after. But nothing beats that Rachel Addams Family movie. Alright. Number three is more of a psychological thriller, but obviously you could consider a horror if you really want to. Number three is Cape Fear. Of course, a remake of the original thriller that came out in the 1960s and all. I think 1960s or 50s. But of course, here you got Robert De Niro, directed by Martin Scorsese. Where, of course, ex-convict Max Cady seeks revenge on the defense attorney who mishandled the case years ago. And, of course, he pretty much, obviously, wants revenge and, is very obsessed over his family and stuff. It is, Robert De Niro, it is creepy Robert De Niro at his finest. Of course, directed by Martin Scorsese, who did a great job with this. It is definitely one of the few remakes that's better than the original, in my opinion. Scorsese did a great job here. They're also supposed to do another... They actually have another Cape Fear coming out, but it's an Apple series with Amy Adams, so we'll see how that's going to be. But, yeah, the Robert De Niro one is great. You even got... cameos from the original Cape Fear actors. What's the... forgot the actor's name. Yeah, Robert Mitchell, Gregory Peck, you got cameos from them, which was pretty cool to see. I mean, yeah, Cape Fear, like that remake of Cape Fear is always great. Jessica Lange, Juliette Lewis. It is a really messed up, like always great to see a messed up Robert De Niro all the time. All right, number two is Child's Play 3. Of course, this actually came out like a year after Child's Play 2 came out, which hence why they had to recast the kid and all. Now, of course, this time around you have Andy Barclay, who is now a teenager, is enrolled at a military academy where, like, the Chucky doll is resurrected once again. Now, I admit, this is probably my least favorite out of the Child's Play movies, but I still get a kick out of it all the time. Some of the kills are pretty cool. Probably one of my favorite kill scene is maybe the barbershop scene. Presta, you're dead. Boy, that always cracks me up. Or maybe the garbage truck scene. Probably, one of the best garbage truck scene until Final Destination Bloodlines came around, But yeah, Child's Play 3 is just such a good one. Fun. Chucky is just as great here. Obviously, this will end up being the last Child's Play movie we end up getting. Until we get to see him having a bride. So, yeah. But yeah, Child's Play 3 is a pretty cool one here. Alright. Coming in at number one is, just like Cape Fear, this is more in the suspense realm than straight up horror, but definitely very horror-esque here. Number one, The Silence of the Lambs. Directed by the late great Jonathan Demme, starring Jodie Foster, Anthony Hopkins. Of course, we just have the new Monster series, the one about Ed Gein, and obviously the character Buffalo Bill in this was inspired by Ed Gein, and they even interpreted a film shoot of Silence of the Lambs in the Ed Gein story, which I thought was pretty cool. But anyway, yeah, The Silence of the Lambs, obviously one of the few times a horror movie even wins an Oscar for Best Picture here. Of course, Anthony Hopkins, Jodie Foster won theirs. Anthony Hopkins is great as Hannibal Lecter. This movie is very creepy throughout. Buffalo Bill, definitely always terrifying right there too. Puts the lotion on his skin or else it gets a hose again. Yeah, really, really creepy guy there. Ted Levine, by the way, was great as a role too. It's just such a good one. Based on a book, obviously. It's really good. If you guys haven't seen it, definitely give that one a go. But that's pretty much it there. Here is my quick rundown. Number 10, Children of the Night. 9, Highway to Hell. 8, Popcorn. 7, Body Parts. 6, People Under the Stairs. 5, Freddy's Dead Final Nightmare. 4, The Addams Family. 3, Cape Fear. 2, Child's Play 3. And number 1 is The Silence of the Lambs. Again, there's not as much as you expect. A few others that came out. Let's see. Sometimes They Come Back, which I don't think I've ever seen. 964 Pinocchio, which is actually a real movie. There was The Howling, 4 whatever. Ernest Scared Stupid, I guess I could have included that. I do love the Ernest movies. But if I actually included that, then I could include the Madea Halloween movies in my horror list as well. Let's see. Critters 3, which I believe that young Leo DiCaprio was in that, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, let me let you guys. What is your Evil Toons? That's another one I probably could have included. If you guys never seen Evil Toons about killer cartoons, that's probably going to be my honorable mention one. But anyway, let me let you guys. What are some of your favorite horror movies of 1991? Drop comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell for notification. This is Simon Sire.